Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters, week number 3, day number 2 broadcast. Today is August 29th, 2020, and on this day in history, in the early 2000s, Hurricane Katrina was slamming the southern parts of the United States. And, of course, the same rings true today, so our hearts go out to everybody that's going through Hurricane Laura and hope that you stay safe. And if you are tuning in simultaneously, we hope that everything is well on your end, and we'll hold on to the fort until we all make it through. In the meantime, we want to talk about today's upcoming match. I guess in brighter news, there's quite the other devastation that's possibly coming through Turtle Mage versus the Highlander Priest, Monsanto. He's going to be trying to get some revenge going into this week compared to last week, where there's some trash talk, TJ, on social media. We call it friendly banter, but I'm sure Monsanto is kind of splitting a little bit. A lot of it seems to be joking, but it seems to be a little serious, too, at the same time.
Yeah, this matchup is tough for the Highlander Priest because there are very small windows of opportunity for you to capitalize and try and win the game. Most of them revolve around Mind Render or Lucia. The other thing you can hope to do to win the game is to hope that the Turtle Mage player either, one, messes up, or two, draws both of their potions of illusion, which then cuts off their combo or at least puts a clock on it. Monsanto had a very rough time with Highlander Priest versus the Turtle Mage last week. It was not Specialist, so it was only one game, but I feel like he did make a crucial mistake at a certain point in the game by not trading over a Boom Pistol Bully that made it so his Mind Render Lucia was never able to come down because it was just added into the chain of the combos. And Eddie is probably the scariest Turtle Mage player at the moment in America's, maybe even the world. I mean, he's really the only one that I watch consistently, so I have no idea. There's probably a better one out there. It seems like he rarely messes up the combo. He knows the deck inside and out. Does a lot of theory crafting about the deck, and obviously has played it under pressure at a high level for the past 3 weeks. So we shall see. I did talk to Monsanto before today, and he said he did beat Language Hacker, who was also playing Turtle Mage in the Swiss stages. And he said so he's feeling a little bit more confident, but I mean, I also heard Language Hacker's perspective from that, and he said that his opponents are just picking their cards off the top game after game. So, I don't know who to believe, Dan.
I think we'll just have to see the results today and then make sweeping, broad stereotypes and generalizations about how this matchup tends to go, and then await for some players to watch the delayed broadcast and then flame us on social media. I think that is the optimal line of play, TJ. That's the decision I'm going with. Lock it in. All right, so looks like some early starts. That's actually quite action-packed to start things off here. Eddie has the Sphere of Sapience, which he can use to control what kind of draw that he's going to have. The most important thing, of course, for Eddie is to avoid trying to draw the cards that would disrupt his Tortolan Pilgrim from getting its battle cry off. And then Monsanto having a curve, which could reasonably pressure and maybe even get fortunate enough to disrupt his opponent by having things like Mind Render Lucia or maybe even having, a Zephyrus to either destroy the weapon and try to make that Sphere of Sapience less effective, or maybe even finish the game. So we'll see. And he already kind of at a point where he wants to debate if he picks up this Astromancer Solarian now or wants to get a different card here. What would be the reason for Eddie to not draw this Solarian?
So Eddie has a good start, right? He's not under too much pressure. He has Tortolan Pilgrim in hand. He put a Potion of Illusion on the bottom of his deck, which means that he's in a good position to complete his combo. So basically, Eddie's goal right now is to find any situation that he can to not give Monsanto a way to potentially win the game. So I think the long thought of whether or not to even have the Astromancer Solarian in his hand is because Monsanto, if Eddie executes the combo well, can hold on to a full cost Tortolan Pilgrim in hand, doesn't draw his potions, Monsanto almost has no chance to win. And if by giving him Astromancer Solarian, potentially, because he plays a Shadow Madness in his primary deck, that might give him the only chance he would otherwise have to win. So I think that's the thought process of, why would I even draw this card? But the downside of shuffling that to the bottom of your deck is, you don't know what your next card is. It could be the Potion of Illusion, which means that you basically have to hold on to the Spear of Sapience until you put the second Potion of Illusion on the bottom of your deck. So he does end up picking it up. He can always just hold it in his hand if he's worried about it being stolen. He could kill it off right away with the Brain Freeze. There's many different things he could do to combat that.
Yeah, that's right. And it looked like Eddie really kind of deep in the tank thinking about some of those possibilities. But for the most part, I do like the choice of not trying to jam Astromancer Solarian in a position where he could lose it. The only exception, of course, would be if it's stolen. And even then, we've seen mages do perfectly fine without it.
Yeah. And he plays on an empty board here, which means that it would have to be a very exact combo in order to steal it, which he's not too worried about. And even if it does get stolen, it's usually not the biggest of deals, but, it would be in a situation where Eddie feels he's ahead, the only way that Monsanto could win.
So now we have the couple of 5-drops that Monsanto is thinking about. Convincing Infiltrator versus Cobalt Spellkin. The Spellkin has stats that are slightly worse against Astromancer if they have spell damage, things like the Brain Freeze that we see in the hand. But looks like Monsanto's going to start things off with his Raise Dead instead. Okay, I wasn't really thinking about this play. And Monsanto looks like he's interested more in just kind of building up these weaker minions. Maybe doesn't want the Astromancer Solarian to die since he has that Shadow Madness. I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think not wanting it to die. I may have gone Raise Dead just Imprison Vile Fiend, because then it makes Eddie not want to play a minion. And if he does, you do get the Solarian Prime. So looks like he's. Oh, well, there's still nothing to Shadow Madness it into. Right. So no reason to ping it off now. The only reason to ping it off now is if he wanted to spend all his mana next turn and play a minion. But, I mean, that would mean Monsanto wouldn't be playing anything for him to trade the Astromancer Solarian into.
Right. So Monsanto, I think, abandoning that plan to try and steal that Astromancer Solarian and get the Death Rattle into his deck. Monsanto with a Mind Vision identifies a Cartouche Defender, not super impactful. So it looks like Monsanto's primary game plan has been, or rather his tricky game plan to try and steal things like the Prime is not really going according to plan. And Eddie is doing a really good job just kind of avoiding or giving Monsanto opportunities. We like to say, giving up percentage points in certain areas, and it looks like Eddie is being very tight with his play at the moment, really thinking through everything. So
one of the other reasons why I like the deviation from 5-drops from Monsanto, because he's not really pressuring. No matter what he played there, he's not pressuring, at least not enough to win the game with just straight up pressure. Actually invoking as many times as you can to try and give yourself the highest possible chance to get multiple Mind Renders is a win condition in the matchup. So much so that I wouldn't even be surprised with all this value in the hand from Monsanto if he went just Galakron next turn. Because dumping your hand and pressing the invoke button to try and get as many of those Mind Renders as possible, or as many chances for Mind Renders as possible, is a win condition, especially since he doesn't have the natural one in hand.
Yep. Okay. That Cabal Shadow Priest. I'm trying to think about if Monsanto wants to still be on the trickier side or kind of be on the proactive side, because it seems like we're rapidly approaching that time where Monsanto won't be able to do anything actionable on the board because just keep freezing everything. The nature of Eddie's deck wants to just constantly freeze the opponent's board and either force Monsanto to have damage from hand or disrupt the combo. That's the only two ways for Eddie to really lose from that spot. Outside of course, user error.
Yeah, which with Eddie doesn't seem like it happens with Turtle Mage. There's sometimes where maybe he's not like 100% optimal, but as long as you make sure you keep a full cost Tortolan in hand to play around Mind Render and have another 1-mana 1 in hand, you're fine. All right, so yeah, the two plays here. So I like the Apotheosis Interfire over Galakron in this instance specifically, not because I think he needs to value board presence, but just because it's going to be hard for him to dump Apotheosis Interfire once he starts to get to and get value from it. Once he starts to get to the point of the game where his board's going to be perpetually frozen by the Tortolan Pilgrim. So I do think that he really wanted to get Galakron online there to start invoking. I think he also might have thought about Time Rip there for the same reason. But getting these cards to the hand and actually putting some meaningful pressure to make Eddie maybe not be able to play all of his stuff immediately. Yeah. All right, Potion of Illusion now. He has the second full cost Tortolan Pilgrim in his deck still, so he doesn't necessarily need to worry about Mind Render, because even if he dumps this one, he still has a full cost one that he will draw at some point. And getting it out now, before he might be under so much pressure that he can't afford to play Potion of Illusion and not freeze, also has value. So I do like the coin there to get out the first Tortolan.
I think so too, and capitalize on the faght that Monsanto still hasn't been able to threaten you in a significant way, and really buy that time. Highlander decks certainly have explosive potential. We've seen it happen several times. In fact, that's probably the main reason why people favor the Highlander archetypes over the normal mid-range or control variants of Galakron Priest. This actually applies to a lot of different classes as well, just because they have the ability to play a controlling slow style, or they can curve aggressively, or they can just try to save small combo pieces to try and end the game. But you can kind of look at Monsanto a little bit defeated immediately just by seeing kind of what's happening here. Doesn't seem like the Tortolan Pilgrim, Earthen Ring Farseer combo is going to allow Monsanto to interact with the board for quite some time. And I guess the question starts to fill our head now, which is, what are some things Monsanto can do here? Is it just kind of waiting for his inevitable fate? Is it hoping that Eddie messes up? Can he draw something to potentially swing things?
Pretty much just Mind Render. And hoping Eddie messes up. One of the things you can do is try and limit board space. If you sense that your opponent has an awkward hand, like right now, Potion of Illusion is based off of order of play, which means that right now Eddie's first three, since he divvied them up, his first three minions are Earthen Ring Farseer, Tortolan Pilgrim, Earthen Ring Farseer. If for some reason you could fill up the board and force Eddie to play a Tortolan and with limited hand space and board space in order to get enough cards in hand to get multiple Tortolans, because he needs 4 open board spaces or 4 open hand spaces to get multiple Tortolans. That's a possibility. But that's hard to do because that means you're not playing minions. And Eddie is not even incentivized to even continue going for his combo because of the fact that he's just dealing, at least 7 points of damage each turn anyway. So that can be very difficult to do, and it's kind of like a desperation situation. So he's just going to develop. Right. Hoping that he messes up is also a part because, this deck is very tough to pilot. I mentioned how it's based off of order of play. So if Eddie wants to weave things in to his combo, like if he wants to weave these Earthen Ring Farseers in, he has to be very conscious about which things he played in which order, so that way he can calculate how much hand space he needs to get multiples back.
Yeah.
Which can sometimes be difficult.
No, totally. And, I just to kind of add to that, I, of course, took some time to try to pilot and donate my ranks to the ladder, for a good cause, and try playing this deck a little bit this week. And I did win a handful of games. It was not very successful. I think I had like a 35% 80% win rate or something, because it's pretty tricky again. And there's just a lot of aggression on ladders, and they punish you super hard if you're not careful. As look like Eddie's going to freeze the board here one more time. I did end up winning a couple games, TJ, even though I messed up. And I think some people just lost the patience for that because they're like, I'm just going to concede. And I was like, oh, okay, thank goodness they conceded because I think I messed up pretty badly. And, there is a little bit of that dynamic, though. It's like this deck can have a lot of tricky moments where you're like, oh, wait, I kind of like messed up. I don't have a spell in my hand for the Sun Reaper War Mage, or, I can't actually combo. But they just see you copying it, and they're like starting to lose faith already. So there's some really funny moments that can happen. Speaking of funny moments, can this Ysera do anything that we're not thinking about here with some big damage opportunities like Nightmare? I don't think so. I think this might be a desperation act. I think Monsanto's Nozdormu could be if it was the other version of Nozdormu, maybe that's some way to disrupt. Give Eddie only 15 seconds to pull off the combo.
Yeah, because you don't have a way to just remove it off the board instantly. You really have to do 4 blizzards or trade off the board into it. In that specific moment, Eddie probably could have just traded off his whole board, but this deck does take a lot of focus, a lot of concentration. I've been getting better at the deck week after week. In the first week, I think I had like a 5% win rate. In the second week, I think I had like a 30 to 40% win rate. And now this week in practicing, I actually had close to a 70% win rate. And like
that's a pretty dramatic difference. Well done. Yeah, I guess I'm a week behind you, TJ, in terms of learning the deck.
But there are some games that are just complete non-games. I feel like a lot of the games I win just by tempoing out, not even executing my combo.
Yeah, Eddie actually pointed that out on social media, saying like he's been winning a lot of games actually by having both potions in hand. Things obviously didn't go ideally. You're not aiming for that, but recognizing opportunities. And I think that's probably where is the biggest weakness of my own gameplay. Is just I think I might be tunneled too much on what the deck's primary game plan, and not thinking about alternative win conditions, which is something that it seems like Eddie is pretty good at in particular. We've seen him be put into situations where he doesn't have, he has both potions or he doesn't have the ideal lineup, and it seems like he's still able to find a way to either potentially win the game or actually straight up steal one.
Yeah. Priest is not one of those matchups you win by tempo. Priest is
right.
One of those matchups that you win by doing the combo, and a lot of it is waiting. It's waiting for Eddie to draw something that actually accelerates his win condition, which is the Sun Reaver War Mage, and Monsanto trying to draw the Mind Render to interrupt the combo. And at this stage in the game, with Eddie still having a full cost Tortollan Pilgrim in hand that he has no pressure to play even if he draws it, Monsanto needs multiple Mind Renders, or for Eddie to mess up and have to play his full cost Tortollan. The entire game is hinging on that type of thing. There's also, like you mentioned, Nozdormu could make Eddie have to play super fast and mess up. There is a point in the game where Eddie could end up being on a clock, going into fatigue if he's forced to put another potion on the bottom of his deck, and then with this Sphere of Sapience or play Lord Keeper Polkit to empty hand space. There's some weird things that can happen as you approach fatigue. But as long as the Sun Reaver War Mage isn't too far towards the bottom of the deck, he should be fine. Especially since he thought ahead to those possibilities. Obviously, he's played tons of games of Turtle Mage at this point, and he started weaving in the Earthen Ring Farseers early to make sure that his health total was as high as possible as he continues to do this combo each turn.
I mean, this combo is not going to stop anytime soon. And the March of the 1/1s really starting to take its effect here. And you can kind of see that overall, Eddie can really just kind of take his time. Looks like he's going to find an opportunity to maybe even end the game a little bit quicker with Pyroblast. Can't really imagine how if you would want Deep Breathe. Okay, he goes for Power of Creation instead. Is there a particular thing that he's thinking about with Power Creation that's superior to Pyroblast, given that it seems like he's in full control of the game and he could maybe just end the game through combo damage, TJ?
Actually not sure. I think it's cheaper if he needs to dump hand space.
Right. That makes sense.
Still provides the like just kind of pressure from hand, but he can also dump things along with it. Like if he gets something real good, he can tortollan it. But I'm actually not sure.
That is certainly interesting, right? Like, I think it might be what you described, which is like in a really, really bad situation, he might need that tortollan and copying whatever he summons. Doesn't seem like a likely scenario, but it's certainly possible.
Potentially, I mean, this is just a dump card. Hit the button, probably. I guess not.
Change your mind.
He's still trying for tempo, Dan.
I mean, I feel like with Monsanto, so the primary game plan for a lot of these decks that go up against it is, it feels like hope that there's an opportunity for you to sneak in damage if they draw awkwardly. And while it's not a super reliable way to go about it, I think it's entirely reasonable to try and aim for that, given that it seems like Eddie isn't going to be slowing down these freeze chains. So hopefully the deck just has that built-in failure rate, and you're going to be able to handle it, or be able to capitalize on it right afterwards. But for now, I mean, it seems like the deck has truly hit its groove. I don't see any disruption opportunities for Monsanto based off his hand. So this does look to be like kind of an easy cruise to victory for game number 1 here for Eddie.
Yeah. Because of that, that's why I don't really want to play for tempo as Monsanto. I mean, yes, you need to acknowledge the board at some point, but I mean, the more you acknowledge the board, the more Eddie's able to go off on his combo, the more he can dump from his hand, the easier it's going to be for him to play Sunriver War Mage if he gets it. And I want to hit the button as much as possible because I want multiple mind renders. I want a second one. I want the highest chance to get a second one because that's his only that's about his only chance to win. Especially since Eddie, because he has all these expensive cards on the left side of his hand, he is limited on how many tortollans he can hold in his hand at any given time. He's been capped out at like 3, so like he can't have the full protection suite. Which is 8, the ideal hand, 8 1-cost Tortollan Pilgrims, 1 8-cost Tortollan Pilgrim, and a Blizzard. So that when you draw your Sunriver War Mage, it's active. That's like the ultimate mind render play around. So, Potion of Illusion.
Okay. I mean, I wonder if there's anything he could do with. I mean, at this point, doesn't he just like slowly transform into the mage deck based off the kind of cards that's going through?
Is there any way he could get that Potion of Illusion in his deck, Dan?
I wonder if he could like Mind Render and Potion of Illusion, and then he just like, is there a possibility that he's able to just chain Mind Renders and stop Eddie, and then over the course of 2 turns combo Eddie instead? Because there was a situation that popped up last week where Eddie almost gave Monsanto lethal opportunity when Monsanto could have swapped hands and then used Sunriver War Mage to combo Eddie instead.
Yeah, the problem is as soon as you play Mind Render, you don't have Potion of Illusion anymore.
Right, but assuming it sticks on the board, though, right? Because your opponent
can't...
can't...
Yeah, but it won't. That's the problem.
Fair enough.
I don't think that Potion of Illusion is... I think it's a bait, Dan. I think it's caster bait.
I mean, there's a very small possibility, right? Like, if Eddie doesn't correctly identify that he needs to kill it because Monsanto has a potion, maybe he just, like, instead stalls the board or develops... Like, you know, maybe he just plays his own thing, like big stats, and then Monsanto keeps that 1-3. It swaps back. He Potion of Illusion, gets to play it again. That's 2 back-to-back turns. Where we go from there, I'm not sure, but I mean, that seems like a potential emphasis on the word, ray of hope for Monsanto.
Well, you know, step 1 of that is acquire a Mind Render. which Monsanto has yet to do so far this game. 13 cards left in his deck. He still has the natural one. You know, I've said it before, I want to keep seeing as many invokes as possible to try and get them because I feel like that's the best chance to win. I feel like at this point in this matchup, like, you have to look at the hand and you have to just expand your brain and try and pick a card, any card in his hand to like truly focus on and try and think of all the possibilities that that card can maybe win in the game.
Sure.
And like the Potion of Illusion, I feel like our brains naturally go to that one because Eddie's comboing with that card. So if Eddie can combo with that card, then Monsanto can combo with that card. But I feel like there's another card that we're missing here. And we need to hone in on something else to try and find some fringe outs. I think
okay, hold on.
the Northern, what is it? The Nostradamus? Yeah, whatever. The big dragon that things die and gets bigger. That's the one we need to focus on here, Dan. What can he get from that one? Wait till it gets to 9, and then play it. Oh no. Jeez. What can he do? Can he get like can he discount it and then get Boom Pistol Bully and Potion of Illusion the Boom Pistol Bully?
Wait. Oh no, I can't do that.
Dan, we're not thinking deep enough. We need to go deeper. We need to use multiple cards in the hand to find a fringe out.
Well, I mean, the way I feel like we can is if Monsanto gets shuffle cards somehow. It's like shuffle something into your opponent's deck. I'm thinking like what Weasel Tunneler used to be, right? Where like if you kill it, you shuffle into your opponent's deck. If you play bombs, obviously, but we're not really in that stage at the moment. You shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. Is there any way we can potentially do that here? I got excited because the Portal Overfiend, but I'm like, wait, no, the only shuffle's friendly and also it's a battle cry. Maybe if the Nostradamus summoned a bad luck Albatross, TJ.
Yeah.
I think that might be the only way to disrupt it. Regardless, Monsanto actually has a pretty decent amount of board with the Nostradamus summoning a couple of 7-drops and just threatening. But doesn't seem like it's a serious issue right now. We're still in the holding pattern here.
If we think back to, I don't know, what was it, a couple hours ago? When was I talking about that as a win condition? Limiting hand space?
That's right. At this point, TJ's slowly devolving to Deckard Cain, telling us about all the ancient dark secrets of Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Because Eddie has drawn Cartridge Defender and Blizzard, he is, like, his hand is very expensive. And it's getting hard for him to dump hand space, play anything other than Tortollan Pilgrim, and Potion of Illusion enough Tortollan Pilgrims back. I also actually don't know. I'm pretty sure Frost Nova, he shuffled one. No, he shuffled 2 Potion of Illusions and 1 Frost Nova to the bottom of his deck. So his clock is quite extended to where he knows that those cards will be at the bottom and has drawn his last 3. So he'll consistently have the 2 spells. But drawing the Blizzard and not being able to shuffle that to the bottom with the Sphere of Sapience means that he can no longer clear the board without continuing to Potion of Illusion Firebrands.
Okay.
And so there is a clock. There is like a... It's not like a critical mass type thing, but there is a small window of opportunity where he might be able to fill up his board space, build a big board, and then Mind Render a turn, force Eddie to play awkwardly and have 1 turn of minions unfrozen. Like a critical mass of that.
Okay.
I mean, that's all until Eddie draws Sunreaver Warmage. Okay, this is it, Dan. This is it.
Yeah?
The Nostradamus, then he gets
I wonder.
Double King Crush,
and then buffs it up with Kronks.
So it's 20 damage.
Nostradamus, King Crush, he gets a randomly generated Psyche Split, and then he Kronkses them for +2/+2.
Wait. No.
That's lethal.
Maybe
That's an OTK.
There actually legitimately might be an opportunity for that, TJ. And actually, it's not the OTK, because I feel like we're being facetious about that. If Monsanto can actually set up a situation where he can cast his removal from his hand, play things like Netherdamus, and then swap hands at the very at the last moment after he's played his board, right? He'll play Netherdamus, he'll play Kronks and do all his big stuff, then swap hands with Mindrender. Eddie can't freeze or interact with it, and he has to use the Priest removal, which will be lacking. Then Monsanto can actually hit on the following turn when the hands swap back. So I think that's the only possible way for Monsanto to do this.
So he needs to dump the Blizzard. Yeah, no, that's actually a reasonable win condition. Dan, you've done it. You've cracked the code.
and I think that's where the potion actually does come in, right? Like, he gets cheap, really powerful minions.
Yep.
He hopes he actually draws badly from here. Like, dumping things like Blizzard and Breath of the Infinite so he can't really deal with stuff.
Yeah.
And then what does Eddie do, right? What does Eddie do with Priest cards at that moment?
The problem is, like, the card 2 defenders are so impactful in this situation because it's 2 things that he has to get through. Like, yeah, King Crush would be great if you can get immediate damage, then swap, avoid the freeze, and hit twice. But these minions actually aren't that big. The Netherdamus minions will be big, but like Animated Avalanche, I mean, what elementals does he even have in his deck? Zephyrus? So he has to play Zephyrus to set up for a 2/1/1 turn because it just copies its stat line.
Right.
So it's Netherdamus is the big threat. Is he going to play it now? What is that, 6?
I feel like he really shouldn't.
A 10? I think it's full.
Right. I think he really wants to just make a weak board as best as he can. He also found Natalie Celine, which might be too good of a card. Incidentally enough, which is just, again, very strange. This matchup is, most matchups against Turtle Mage usually flip its head if you're not an aggro deck. And Eddie still doesn't have any real semblance of winning anytime soon because he still hasn't drawn any kind of damage. He just found stall.
Yeah, and it's awkward now because he has 9 cards in hand. So this Tortollan Pilgrim, he can just fill the board with Tortollan Pilgrim. That's it. That's all he can do. Unless he wants to weave something in. What he's trying to do here is he wants to play the second Tortollan Pilgrim to make sure that his first 2... Oh, wow.
Jandis Barov.
Okay. I thought he was going to play this... If you play the second Tortollan Pilgrim first before you play Jandis, and then Potion, you're guaranteed 2 Tortollans back. But now he gets the Tortollan and the Jandis.
Right. Which may be what he wants to generate, just more tempo.
He could,
but now this is an opportunity for Monsanto to actually use that Blizzard in a non-suspicious way.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay, can he do it all? Do you do it all here? Do you Blizzard, Netherdamus, and then Mindrender?
I think he has to ditch the Kronks. I think he has to ditch the Kronks and the Shadow Word Death first, though, right? Because he's giving removal tools to Eddie to fight back.
Kronks is not a removal tool.
5 damage AoE?
He's not Galakron.
Oh, wait, you're you're totally right. I don't understand why I thought that was the case.
You've been casting totally too many priest mirrors lately, Dan.
I know. Jeez.
You've changed. We used to never cast priest mirrors.
Wow. Okay, wait. So now he has Grave Rune. Well, Grave Rune doesn't exactly synergize with it because if your opponent...
And the Netherdamus is gone. Oh, no, it's not. He's just hovering it.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's interesting that he's not trading... Wait, he's not trading either to improve the cost of the minions and imprison Felma. Okay, so he's driving maximum tempo. 1 Potion of Illusion comes into the hand here for Eddie. We know that he shuffled a few.
I thought he shuffled both
one
to
of
the bottom, but I guess I was wrong. No, that doesn't work like that. Yeah, I thought he shuffled both to the bottom. What in the world was he shuffling to the bottom of his deck then? Because he used almost every charge of Sphere of Sapience. I think it got oozed at some point. But thought he shuffled 3 cards, 1 Frost Nova and double potion. I don't know. But he still has a Frost Nova and a potion left in his deck, which is the important part. But no Sunreaver Warmage yet. So the Sunreaver Warmage being so far down in his deck means that Monsanto has had time to assemble something.
Right.
Something to dump.
He's
Spellbender and play it.
definitely not Arcane Intellect. I think Deep Freeze, like you said, a little bit too expensive. Also kind of makes his Potion of Illusions worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so now he can actually do it. I think he can Kronks, Mindrender Lucia.
Shadow or Death.
All right, test for the secret first. And
He
then
doesn't have board
Eddie doesn't
space.
actually have a way to handle the board. He has
He
just
doesn't have board
the
space.
Cartoot Defender.
You can't play
Oh, yeah,
Kronks
he's
and
limited by
Mindrider.
board space. Oh, come on.
It would have been sick though, Dan. I agree.
I mean, we kind of get where this is going here, but
The problem is Eddie. I guess that's. He could have just like he just put a Grave Rune on his Cartoot Defender. Then GG.
Right. Maybe maybe this is the 5 damage AOE, no, and
No, he just does the Kronks this turn because he's shown that he's Frost Nova. So he just.
oh.
No, never mind. I don't know anymore.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. He's dumping his hand. He's just trying to set it up so that it's more awkward for Eddie. And also, I think his setup will lure Eddie into more of a like I don't think he's gonna actually threaten me meaningfully. Oh no, Sunriver Warmage. I think he might be out of time. Yeah, look, he had a lot of turns to try to set it up, and I think he might just be too late here. Wait, no. What about the opposite though? Because he's not gonna kill him this turn, right? He can't.
You're in my hands now.
And then Monsanto might be able to flip damage the other way. He might be lacking board space.
He's lacking board space. Unless the imprisoned Felmaw
A new Valore
attacks into something and kills himself. Actually, if he goes with Mindrender this turn, he could dump the War Mage because Eddie can't get 2 War Mages back in hand.
Time runs out on me.
Well, yes, he can.
Yeah, the issue is kind of what you
but he put a
identified
Cartoot
before.
Defender in the way. Oh, now he can just dump the second Cartoot Defender. He has 2 Tortolans.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
2 War Mages and 1 Tortolan. Yeah. Oh, no, he dumped 1 War Mage.
Where does this Felmaw go?
War Mage. Alright, so this has to be the Mindrender turn.
Right.
Yep.
This
He
is
could
what
dump
he's
the
been
War
waiting
Mage,
for.
which cuts off the
He
win
just drew
condition.
Plague of Death. Okay.
So you want to dump the War Mage.
Mm-hmm. What if you potion first? That way you can dump afterwards. Don't give your opponent any opportunity to do anything after.
Yeah, what if you fill up the hand? And so he has a chance to overdraw potion.
Right.
If you think
Potion
that
of
the
Illusion.
potion wasn't... So you potion last. So you dump the War Mage, potion last,
Mm-hmm.
and then hope that the overdraw is the potion when the hands swap back.
Oh wait,
What, does he even draw a
triple
card?
Kronks. Triple Kronks with Potion of Illusion also was pretty nutty.
In my hands now.
Oh wow, yeah. But I mean, if you're not getting rid of anything else, then it doesn't matter how big your board is because it's just gonna Frost Nova. Because he doesn't even draw a card on the following turn.
I don't know if that went according to the plan here for Monsanto. I kind of really wanted to play Potion this turn, but I think I think Monsanto doesn't act now. I think he's 100% down for the count here.
I wonder.
And if Eddie plays like Plague of Death, is that enough? Maybe? Pretty sure that should be okay, because then Monsanto can only generate a threat through the Zephyrus. Yeah, I don't see it any other way anymore at this point. I guess, look, because the reason why is because yes, Eddie doesn't have the War Mage anymore, but like Monsanto doesn't have actual. I guess he could just generate threats and try to win naturally that way. Like he's trying to run Eddie out of the resources, but Eddie can maybe just win through tempo and fatigue at this point, right?
Yeah.
Or am I misunderstanding the situation and actually Monsanto's in a good spot? Oh wait, what?
Oh!
Wait, what?
No!
Wait.
All right, so Eddie plays the full cost toward. No, okay. Monsanto might win this. So now
Yeah.
Eddie, in order to continue the combo, has to play Tortolan Pilgrim. But Monsanto needs to tempo enough to force Eddie to have to continue to play the combo. Because Eddie doesn't have to continue to play combo. He's going to win at fatigue. All Eddie has to do is keep up with tempo and then only play the combo if he needs to survive. So Monsanto still needs to pressure. Because Eddie doesn't have to play Tortolan Pilgrim here. He probably will just because he wants tempo. And you never expect... You just saw his hand. He just saw his hand and there was only one Mind Render.
Yes.
So he's thinking, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. He played his Mind Render. Now I'm ahead in fatigue. I can play my Jandis. I can put all my cards back in my hand with Jandis. Actually, wait. No, he can't play Jandis because then he wouldn't have hand space for the second Tortolan. Not that it matters, though. Because Monsanto... Can he still win in fatigue, though? That's the question. No, he doesn't have enough value. My mind just is done.
Well, I
I've been
mean,
mind rendered.
the important thing is that there seems to be a ray of hope, which is
I wonder. Time runs out on me.
more than what we could say before.
All right, dump it all.
Wait.
Mind render and
is it
dump
now?
it all.
Is
Yeah,
it? Does
you
Mind
know
Render
he has exact.
Right, but doesn't Mind Render increase in value the later it goes because you can force really bad Potion of Illusions when Eddie double draws it?
What about?
I mean, don't you just dump the Tortolans in the Potion of Illusion? No, I guess you're right. Yeah, you need to clear first. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, you're right.
now actually he has a definitive way to close it out because Eddie ran out of that damage.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders if maybe Eddie. Oh wait,
The
I
Solarium
may have
Prime.
forgot about what? I forgot about Solarium.
Yeah, we
Prime.
forgot about the Solarium Prime.
Oh jeez,
I have become one.
I mean, that's huge. Wow, this is damage that's going to the face, and he can copy it. And now, I mean,
Yeah,
that is an alternative win condition.
My hands.
I think you're supposed to dump him last turn.
Yeah, I agree now. Now
Wait,
that
no,
we see
because now
kinda
he
how
mind
this thing goes.
renders and dumps the Solarium Primes and kills him. With Solarium Primes. Maybe he specifically waited
Maybe?
for the Solarium Primes from
I mean, there's no guarantee that you do, even though it's likely.
Time runs
Yeah,
out on
I
me.
guess your reasoning stands of, well, there's no point to do it now because he'll always have Tortolan Pilgrims to dump. And you wait until you have to.
Well, yes. Although the issue that's kind of going on right now is that Monsanto doesn't have a lot of life. Wait. No, there's nothing with Soul Mirror.
What about?
So Mindrender Lucio will give Monsanto the hand that Eddie has. He can play 2 Solarian Primes, then copy it, then play 2 more. The issue is he actually needs board space. Soul Mirror? Oh, he wants to go deeper into this game. And I guess it's also somewhat okay if Eddie plays Solarian Prime because you also have a pretty decent chance you get card draw. Which means that Eddie could fatigue himself and he can push this damage here. Except he's not really pushing damage, is he, TJ? Because it's a Vaporize.
My hand
Eddie
is too
burns Acidic Swamp Ooze. He's super happy to see that. And because the Imprisoned Homunculus is
You're in my hands now.
dormant, he doesn't get a copy.
Yeah, and something that our producer Abar just pointed out to us is it's impossible for Monsanto to dump the Tortollan Pilgrims now because
You're in my
he drew his
hands
second
now.
Frost Nova. So the only card is Potion of Illusion. So if Monsanto plays Mindrender, every time he plays a Tortollan Pilgrim, it adds a Tortollan Pilgrim back to his hand.
Right. Okay, then are we on the Solarian Prime?
Wait,
situation
no.
here?
He can do it, right? Because he keeps dumping the Tortollan Pilgrim because it's order of play, so he gets Mindrender first. So he keeps dumping Tortollans until his hand is full of Mindrenders.
Okay.
So I think
okay.
She's my suggestion.
I'm open to it. I think Monsanto just wants to take this to fatigue stage at this point, right?
Yeah, but then he loses it.
Well, I meant more like he puts it so that way Eddie's in a situation where he needs to start. No, actually, you're right because he's so far ahead. He's 3 cards. Monsanto is 3 cards deeper than Eddie is.
Yeah.
You're in my hands now.
Okay, here we start the train one more time.
You're in
Tortollan
my
Pilgrims.
Yeah.
hands now.
That-
What makes something real?
Then Jandis. Wow, gaining armor. Just healing
that
up.
column's interesting.
More like a wisp than a warden.
You're in
Yeah,
my
at this point, I think that Eddie has identified that Solarian Prime is not necessary, can be held as just a Hail Mary attempt. And then Monsanto might be able to do the same, but Mindrender Lucia number 2 is like, oh, come on. What's going to happen here, TJ? We're going to see some potential fireworks.
I don't even know.
I mean, Puzzle Bots can change a lot of things. I mean, more minions being summoned actually isn't a great thing. Wait, this apparently just casts Mindrender Lucia. Okay, so another one? He doesn't actually have the hand space right now.
That Potion of
To
Illusion
keep
was
chaining this.
awkward because right now he could if. Okay,
Wait,
board clear.
clearing the board.
All right.
Oh wait, another thing too is that now Monsanto wants to draw like a ton of cards, right?
Running out.
Wait, he could go learn Draconic for Tortollan Pilgrim. Potion of Illusion will give him a Mindrender and a Solarian Prime still. He needs to dump 1 card though, because Mindrender was the first one played. And no hand space. So learn Draconic and then Tortollan
jeez.
Pilgrim. Learn Draconic, Tortollan Pilgrim, Potion of Illusion, and play 1 more Solarian Prime.
You're in my hands now.
Oh, he's just going for the fill up the hand with Mindrenders.
I mean,
so
it doesn't
that way
really
he-
fill up the hand though.
No, he was just dumping. No, he was dumping their Tortollans.
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
smarter.
The Tortollan Pilgrims
That's
are
smarter.
gone now.
That's the
Yeah, yeah,
situation
yeah,
I
yeah,
mentioned,
yeah.
where if his hand's full enough, since it's order of play, Mindrender will always come back first from Potion of Illusion. So even if Potion of Illusion is the last card in the deck, if your hand is full enough and you have enough mana, you can still dump it. But you need the board space. That was actually good by Monsanto to not get baited by the 3rd Solarian Prime, and instead dump the Tortollan. So when Eddie gets this, wait,
Yeah.
Burzon?
Unless he like mind flayers and then gets an opportunity to copy it. And now Eddie
Yeah, because he knows he has a potion of illusion in his hand.
Right.
Wait, I mean,
So now he swaps back, and he can just potion of illusion right back. Wait. How much damage is this? Not enough.
what was the secret?
Mirror entity. Katrina Muerte. I mean, Monsanto is just kind of stuck with what he has right now, and so what I fail to see is how Monsanto kills Eddie in time. That's what I don't recognize. Like I understand exactly what Monsanto's trying to do. He's playing a disruption game plan, trying to throw out Eddie's ability to combo. But what I don't feel like he has is time. Also, this mirror entity he doesn't really know about.
Now
he does. Yeah, and so he has to freeze it.
And now Eddie can potion of illusion to Murazond.
Yeah, or maybe just like push damage and Frost Nova. Like he doesn't actually have to do anything. That's game one. Over to Eddie. Wow. I mean, that looked pretty straightforward in the beginning. Then it really took some sharp left turns out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden we kind of were in a situation where maybe Monsanto could have done something. I feel like there was more to the ending of the game, and I felt like we were set up to potentially see some really big swing at the end, and then nothing happened. So,
I think the biggest debate we can have is Monsanto's burst mind render. Like how effective could he have been with disruption with the first mind render? Because it felt like that turn was pretty lackluster. But it's really hard to say because mind render has just so many like degrees of complexity, especially when you consider potion of illusion and the deck swapping. So like the potion of illusion and deck makes it tough to dump the Tortolan. So that's the only thing we can look at. But for right now, I mean, there's nothing. That's just, I mean, let's just simplify that one as much as we can. Bad matchup for Monsanto, and he lost game one. Pretty expected outcome.
So the secondary and tertiary decks, the secondary deck for Monsanto seems to be targeted at, Warrior, for example, or any kind of like weapon class because he's got Acidic Swamp Ooze in there, plus a bunch of taunts and heals. Then Monsanto's third deck, his tertiary deck, has Cult Neophyte, Mind Games, Headmaster Kael'thasad. That looks like it's stuff targeted more for the mirror.
For Druid.
Or for Druid as well, right? Like having those big things that might help. We've seen how Headmaster Kael'thasad also sometimes be used there in those tertiary decks, but I think that makes sense. Eddie's secondary deck has Cult Neophyte, Spellward Jeweler, and Frozen Shadow Weaver, which is interesting. And we see his tertiary decks with Messenger Raven, Boom Pistol Bully, and 2 Sun Reaver War Mages.
Yeah.
I mean, I always love a double down, TJ. You know me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw how quickly would that game have ended if Eddie had drawn a Sun Reaver War Mage faster. It would have been over very quickly. So having 2 in the deck, fantastic. Messenger Raven also lets you have a better chance of getting your Tortolan early. It's just doubling down on everything. And Boom Pistol Bully allows you to have protection against Mind Render. So Eddie's even more of a favorite now.
Well played.
Because of these changes.
Right,
Steal.
seems like... Okay. I mean, it seems like with the Sphere of Sapience as well, Monsanto, with lack of ability to... Oh, hold on. You can actually shut down that weapon next turn. What? I mean, that might be key.
Could be, actually, yeah.
There's no guarantee of it. It's just that it has a chance to have a high
You
impact.
fight me, you get burned.
This is one of those hands where you might be able to tempo. Oh, okay. we got to start. He's got Zephyrus. He can destroy the Sphere of Sapience, and then he already has a Mind Render.
Your wish is my
So,
Yeah, Eddie, not happy to see that acidic swamp boost come out to hit that Sphere of Sapience.
Well played.
And Eddie's like, oh, and the potion immediately drawn.
uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe that built-in failure rate is going to come in handy here for Monsanto. Rusty Raider and the Skyfin, neither of those having big impact given that they're low stats, or low attack rather, not significant amount of pressure. But I do feel like these games are more exciting to watch from the perspective of Eddie, because he gets to, I mean, if it doesn't go as planned, we get to see if he can scrap together a game plan.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those starts where you can tempo out. He's got a lot of reasonably statted minions.
Right.
He can Potion of Illusion here, and just keep going with more reasonably statted minions. Looking for some bigger 5-drops here. Hit some bigger 5-drops. Unfortunately, much of this board gets cleared up by the Breath of the Infinite.
Right. Hoping that he doesn't have AoE is not exactly a reliable thing.
Yeah. He will still have, like a 3-2 left. Pretty sure he chose the Mirage on the Skyfin. Actually, I'm not sure. I guess we'll see right now. It's whether or not you want to protect health or higher attack. Wow, he protected the Skyfin. He protected the more attack. So this works out great for Monsanto. This is a full clear.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
I guess that makes sense because you anticipate Priest to not really be able to deal 1 damage, and you want to be able to pressure as best as you can.
Yeah. Alright. Well, Lord Keeper Polket will block the second potion from being drawn, but now he's on a clock.
For now.
Yeah, for now. He's on a clock. The good thing for Eddie is that he's added in just more expensive things into this tertiary deck. He's got 2 Boom Pistol Bullies, 2 Sunreaver War Mages, 2 Tortolan Pilgrims, a Kartut Defender, and actually doesn't have his Blizzard since he's drew both of them. But he has to draw all of those things before he draws potions, and because he's drawing Tortolan, into Kartut, into Boom Pistol, into Sunreaver, or Sunreaver into Boom Pistol, he's got that much time to find a way to win the game before he eventually draws his potion. And even then, the turn he draws his potion, because he'll have 1 mana War Mages in his hand, he also has that turn. So this is a perfectly long enough clock for Eddie to be able to execute for the win here.
Yeah, with all those additional cards, makes sense to me. Can Monsanto find a way potentially disrupt all of that with his own Potion of Illusion, Mind Render, and Madame Lazul, and like all these other different things to do with his opponent's hand? Surely there could be. But I mean, now it's kind of like what we're talking about, a little bit of that tempo plan. And then Eddie has the Tortolan Pilgrim in hand, which Monsanto knows about, so he's anticipating to come out next turn.
Yep. The only thing he doesn't know about is the 2 Blizzards drawn, but he'll start to piece things together as he sees things played off the top to be able to know the hand for Eddie.
Right. Has to first, kind of see what the secret is. And Netherwind Portal summons Proud Defender. Plays Defender of his own. Back over to Eddie. He can now begin the Tortolan Pilgrim chain.
Yeah, and this will show that he does have either double Blizzard or double Frost Nova.
Right.
It's also just a lot of damage on board, too.
I think from here, Monsanto might start to really think about alternative win conditions. I think, you very quickly identify if you have a primary game plan, which is to pressure and tempo and maybe like crush the mage if they just don't have those right defensive tools. Immediately mind render Alucia. And Tortillon Pilgrim right back. Oh, what if he does something really tricky, like Tortillon Pilgrim, Potion of Illusion, then Tortillon Pilgrim. Oh no, then Mind Render for 1 mana, then Potion of Illusion right back, so you get your own. No, that doesn't. That's stupid. I'm just trying. I'm really thinking outside the box here, trying to see if we can do something really fun.
I was ready for something brilliant there, Dan.
I mean, the idea was that he would keep chaining Mind Render Lucia into his hand, right?
Yeah.
So like, if he played the Tortillon Pilgrim, copied his own Mind Render Lucia on his board, then swaps it back to his original hand, so you can play Potion of Illusion right back and get multiple copies of those things. But then I'm missing the key element, which is he doesn't have Potion of Illusion anymore at that point.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the timing here is pretty key.
You're in my hands now.
Wait.
Oh. Tortillon Pilgrim could clear the board, which I don't know if he wants to do. He might, though.
Yeah. So what I was saying before I got derailed by a potential crazy thought on what could be an outcome here from this Potion of Illusion for Monsanto. He wanted to play it before Eddie could get full value from Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. And he also wanted to just make sure that he got rid of the 1 mana Tortillon as quick as possible to force Eddie to play the other 8 mana Tortillon Pilgrim as fast as possible. Because he knows he's that Eddie with the Polkelt played is on a clock, and because of that, Monsanto needs to do these actions like a little bit faster to give himself the highest chance to find maybe a second Mind Render, or potentially a Nozdormu.
Yeah, this is looking unlikely right now for Monsanto's position. Picks up Renew.
Can he make use of the Polkelt?
Yeah, I was about to say, is there any value of like reorganizing his deck from highest to lowest at the moment? He already drew his Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, which means that
be Plague
hard
of Death,
to pick up are like
Murozond, Solmir, Galakron. That would be the order. So getting to Galakron seems actually reasonable. I can't think of any other cards that he would want that are at the low end of his deck, except for Raise Dead. Actually, Raise Dead is probably a higher chance than Galakron, so I don't want to reorder with Polkelt, actually.
Quickly.
In fact, you Grave Rune the Mind Render now. Yeah! Grave Rune the Mind Render, so 2 spawn. So that way, you can kill off more, so when you draw Raise Dead, you have a better chance of getting Mind Renders.
Okay, sounds pretty desperate to me, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why. Otherwise, he would have played the Polkelt, because he'd want something better from his deck, other than, like, Shadow Word Deaths and Imprisoned Vile Fiends and useless stuff like that. He wants Raise Dead. And then more Mind Renders in the pool means that he has a higher chance of hitting it. I like this. This is good, Dan. Monsanto, he sees the lines.
Sees the lines. And, maybe there's a way to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
sure.
He's running out of time for multiple reasons. One, Eddie's next draw is either Boom Pistol Bully or Sunreaver Warmage. Those are both bad. Sunreaver Warmage kills him. Boom Pistol Bully prevents Monsanto from preventing Eddie from killing him.
Right. I'm with you, TJ. I don't think this is a very good chance still, but
Nozdormu.
Nozdormu it is.
Force Eddie to go fast. More chance to mess up.
Life and hope of your fighting.
That's an out.
Okay. That's, I think, what.
Oh, here we go, Dan. Death
Which can summon 2 of those Dormus. Double the Domu.
Let's head down this path together, shall we? What are the outs? Yep, 2 Nozdormus. That's all I got.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Choose quickly.
I'm thinking very hard here, and I still don't think there's any way with the Nethrodamus outside of just incredible random minion generation that we're not thinking about. And he doesn't even have. Oh wow, okay. Sunreaver War Mage is here. He doesn't even have like Galakrond to really like give him any kind of situation like we saw in the previous game. So it looks like it's the beginning of the end here for Monsanto, having already committed that Mindrender Lucia. And you know what? It's another week, TJ. Another appearance of Monsanto with the nice hat, great fashion sense, great video, great hot takes, TJ. But I don't think it's enough here. I think Eddie gets bragging rights for one more game or one more weekend.
One more turn, Dan. Raised Dead comes off the top. There's a chance.
There's totally a chance. I think there's a non-zero probability that Monsanto can win from here.
There's
but
no
I think
chance
that
now.
I think it is a fraction of a fraction.
Yeah.
In order for him, of a percent, a single percent, in order to win this game.
Yeah. There's no chance now. There's not a 1-mana spell that'll help him.
Hello.
And
oh, no. Got it.
That's it. 2-0 for Eddie. He takes the win over his practice partner and friend, fellow Canadian, Monsanto. And you know, again, we talked about how social media, there's a little bit of banter back and forth and some trash talk. Bragging rights once again stays with Eddie. I really didn't see any late game opportunities for Monsanto. Again, when you have a Lucia, you have like a couple of very weird opportunities to maybe slightly disrupt the opponent. But timing, like you said, timing is everything. That's what makes that card extremely skillful. It's so hard to make sure that you have like the right read down to try and nail that timing to kill off the opponent.
Yeah, it's very difficult. There's only a few windows, and Eddie has proven time and time again that he will not mess up with the deck. He won't mess up at least like the simple things, or the simple things with that deck, which can sometimes be complicated, like making sure that his order of play is on point for the entire game. So that way he's not, putting too many non-Tortolans back in his hand. Like pressuring while at the same time freezing, like doing the correct ordering of things to always have outs against ways to combat Mindrender. Those things, they're small, but they're actually really difficult to execute, especially turn after turn after turn in a very long game where if you mess up once, it could lose you the game. So, props to Eddie for continuing to do that week after week. Not only in just the matches that we're seeing, but obviously in the Swiss rounds too with the deck, where, he's piloting great, still having high win rate, the only player to be able to do so with the deck. Very impressive. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Language Hacker, who actually started 4-0 with Turtle Mage in the Swiss stages, and then lost his last 5, and barely missed out on top 8 because of it. We could have had 2 Turtle Mages in top 8, and they probably would have been like in the same group. Who knows? 50-50, I guess.
That's right.
There's
definitely a lot of skill in terms of piloting it. There's a lot of skill in being able to salve a situation. There's a lot of skill that's even just being expressed with the bravery to bring it. And I think that's definitely something worth noting and calling out as we get ready for series number 2. Another